We've got about 10 more minutes here. Richard has a question. There's talk on extension in the stroke. Where does the extension come from? The hips, lats, or the shoulders? And when is extension in the stroke detrimental? And he's talking about extension in the front of the stroke.
Yeah, well, extension would be detrimental. I can think in two ways. If you're straining to
Mm-hmm.
extend, and secondly, if that causes tension, um, and secondly, if you are holding that a little bit too long, so that you have um, a little too much catch up in your stroke, a little much too much overlap in your stroke, or maybe if you're extending too much to the rear. I mean, some people can think in terms of how much space can I put between the fingertips of the right hand pushing forward and the left hand pushing back. That would be a extension that probably wouldn't be helpful for you.
Okay.
Um, so what's good extension? Well, let's think in simple terms. If you're just swimming and you think that job one for my arm is to lengthen my body line, and that's the most beneficial thing my arm can do, more beneficial than pushing water back. And you just swim with that thought, and you extend a little bit more where previously you had not extended your body line fully.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good place to start. Another place you could be thinking about extension, and we teach this in Superman Glide, is we get people to think about and be aware of the feeling of opening your axilla, opening the area under your arm. So as you reach forward, a lot of people think they're reaching forward, and there's still a lot of slack in their overall body line. And so when we get them to open the area under the arm, open the axilla, the underarm as they extend, that tends to take out some of the slack and gives them the extension of which they're naturally capable. That's really what we're looking for, which is you have an extension that is naturally available to you, and just make sure you get all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Anything to
Okay.
add, Suzanne?
Well, I think that the extension that you're talking about and opening up the space underneath the underarm, when you're able to do that, when you're able to take the armpit and sort of slide it forward, and I'll do a little demonstration here. So this space under the arm here, this is slack, and I've just extended it about 3 or 4 inches. So as a person who's 5'3" tall, this is huge. I've just added 3 inches to my reach, and it's extension that I'm capable of without distorting my spine. I'm not twisting to get it. What's actually happening is that my shoulder blade is sliding up and down on my rib cage. The shoulder blade is not attached to the rib cage except by muscular attachments. It's not a joint. And so when there's slack, it's usually because the shoulder blade is just sort of resting in its neutral position that we go about every day, or because we frequently have tight shoulder blades, tight chest muscles because of typing at a computer or driving. The shoulder blade doesn't really know how to glide around the rib cage. So that idea of extending the axilla or opening it up, we're practicing letting the shoulder blade slide around on the rib cage, and that gives us some extension without distorting the body, without twisting the torso, without overusing the lats or bending at the hips or anything like that.
Yeah, and I might add to that, since Marcelo did make reference to the hip, that one of the you can think about opening the axilla, but after we tell people to open the axilla, we then add to it a thought of using that same hip to propel the arm forward, and
Mm-hmm.
that's recognizing that when your hips rotate, all right, as your body rotates from one side to the other, and the hips move in a vertical plane, but
Mm-hmm.
they're also moving forward because the pelvis, right, can move in this direction.
Mm-hmm.
So that if you think about the direction your hand is going, and as one of your focal points that you may choose to use during a few laps at some point, that you think about using your hip to propel your hand to the spot where you know it's going. All right, that combined with the opening of the axilla will give you all the extension you seek. And it's a
Great,
whole
thank you.
body movement.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. I hope that helps answer the question a little bit.